Hello, my name is Hannah and I'm an intern with the Northern Nevada International Center. This video is going to be about the application process for the Youth Leadership Program with Algeria. We're going to walk through some of the details on how to apply for next year's program. So the due date for the application and the program dates will change each year, but they can be found in a number of places. If you follow NNIC on social media, you may see a flyer like this, which will have our deadlines listed with a lot of other information that is specific to your application year. So regardless of what dates the program is for that year, it's always a 4-week, all expenses paid program that works in collaboration with the United States State Department. During your time here, you'll be visiting Reno, Nevada and Washington, D.C. You'll be encouraged to develop your leadership skills through workshops and team building activities such as one at a local ropes course. You'll be staying with a host family and enjoying international meals and activities, as well as a project on personal development. Please keep in mind that regardless of the application date, the application deadline is always 11:59 p.m. Algerian time. So the deadline is coming up pretty fast, so this video will just briefly walk you through the steps you need to take to apply. And please note the eligibility criteria that's on this document. We'll go over this information in more detail later in the video. So the link to apply can be found along with a lot of other information on the Northern Nevada International Center at our link tree at www.linktr.ee/NNIC Reno. So that will take you here. And once you're on that page, you can click on the, whatever your year is, it will have updated that Algerian Youth Leadership Program application. And it will take you to the Northern Nevada International Center's website. So you can also type this link, www.unr.edu/NNIC/program/Algeria Youth Leadership Program. You can type that into your browser and it will lead you directly to this same page. So on the application site, you can find in more detail our eligibility criteria. Please bear in mind that some of these dates are specific to the 2022 application. So if you're applying for a different year, the eligibility will be different. For future years, any relevant information can still be found on this webpage. It just may not look exactly like it does here. It may have different dates, that sort of thing. So for youth applicants to be eligible to apply, you have to be a legal citizen of Algeria. For the 2022 program, you have to be 15, 16, or 17 years old on June 10th, 2022. But this date, again, will change if you are applying for a program in future years. But the general rule is that you should be 15, 16, or 17 on the first day of the program for your year. And again, this information will be updated and reflected on the webpage to be relevant for future application cycles. So please check back here for information relevant to you. And if you're going to be 14 or younger on the first date of the program for this application cycle, you're ineligible, but we encourage you to just hold off on applying until next year or until whatever year you will be eligible. And if you're older than 17 on the first date of the program, please consider applying to a different exchange program through the United States State Department. So another eligibility requirement is that you have at least 1 year of high school remaining after the program. So if you'll be graduating before the program begins, then you are not eligible. And if you're selected as a semifinalist, we will verify via academic information that you have the proper number of years left on your transcript. And then another requirement is that you can demonstrate sufficient English skills to participate in academics discussions and social interactions, since you will be required to do both throughout the course of the program. We also require that you have demonstrated leadership in your school or community in Algeria, and that you have an interest in our program themes of social entrepreneurship, leadership, and social development. Lastly, you have to have permission from your parent or guardian to participate in this program, and you can have no familial relation to anyone working for the Northern Nevada International Center, the Action Bénévole pour la Citoyen et le Développement, sorry for my French, or the US Department of State. And so moving on to the application itself, you can click on this box, apply as a youth participant, from the Northern Nevada International Center website, and it will take you to a document with more information about the application and links to apply. So please make sure that you read through all of this before starting the actual application. And remember that if you're applying for the 2023 year or any year after that, these dates will not necessarily be applicable to you. So the application is split into two parts. Part one is an online written application, which consists of this information here. At the top of this section, you'll be able to find information on like deadlines that are specific to your year. But again, please bear in mind that this may not be the same date that you see here, but it will be updated in future years for your specific application cycle. And then also please remember that the application is due at 11:59 p.m. Algerian time, and we cannot accept any late or incomplete applications. And we unfortunately cannot provide any extension for technical problems. So please do try to finish your application well before the deadline, so you have plenty of time to ensure that it goes through. So the written application has a couple different elements. I'd suggest starting here with the 2 letters of recommendation. These need to be written in English, typed, and printed out, and then hand signed by a recommender before being scanned or photographed back in and submitted along with the application. So if you click on this link here, you'll find the form that we would like to have your recommenders fill out. So you can email this form to them, and then please remind them when you do so that they need to fill out their answers to all the questions in English, and all of the information should be typed, except at the very end, they should print out this document, hand sign here, and insert the date, and then scan it back so that you could submit it online. So some examples of people that you can ask for letters of recommendation or for references are teachers, mentors, coaches, or someone from an organization or a club that you're involved in. It cannot be a parent or other relative, and it cannot be a friend of yours. And again, you're going to do this 2 times. So your completed application will have 2 different letters of recommendation completed by 2 different people. And so please do not submit 2 copies of the same letter. And I would suggest you start with this part, the letters of recommendation, just so that you give your recommenders plenty of time to write something thoughtful about you. And then another important section of the written application is the signature page, which you can find here. You will have to type your name here and then hand sign it and date where prompted. And you don't have to stamp this page, but please do print it out and hand sign it for us. And then you'll give this signature page to your father or your legal guardian and have that person sign it as well. So by signing this document, you're certifying that all the information within your application is correct and that you have the permission of a parent or legal guardian to participate in the program. If any of the information within your application is found to be false or incorrect, you will be ineligible to participate in this program and all other future programs with the US Department of State and the US Embassy. So please do not put any false information within your application. So once you've worked on your letters of recommendation and your signature page, please click on this link at the bottom here to fill out and submit your application. And that will take you to a document that looks something like this. Please, once you get to this page, please keep in mind that you cannot save partial answers to questions. So only begin working and typing in this document once you know you have all the information ready to submit it. I'd recommend getting the essay questions, the letters of recommendation, and the signature page, writing your answers to the essays on a separate document, and then putting all that back into this form once you're ready to submit. So I just want to talk briefly about the essay questions, which are down here. Because you cannot save this application while you're working on it, you can only submit it. Please make sure that you have all the information ready before you start typing. And so what I would recommend doing is copy and pasting the questions into a separate Word document or Google document. Doesn't matter, just typing them separately and then copy and pasting your answers back into these text box. And then also the answers to your questions here do play a very large role in our decision-making process. So please make sure that your answers to the questions are thoughtful, clear, polite, well thought out. And for most of them, we have a 2,000 character word limit. So just please make sure that you don't go over and don't go too far under. So once you have all of that documentation prepared, so the answers to your essay questions and the forms, you can go back up here and start to fill out your application. One important thing to note is that we ask you to list your email address, and this has to be one that you will have access to and will check regularly throughout the application process and all the way until the end of the program. So please don't enter a parent's or a friend's or a teacher's email. And also please double check that your email is entered correctly, because this is our main method for communicating with applicants and participants. And if your email is incorrect, you won't receive any communication from us. And if you don't already have an email address, you can create one for free with a site like Gmail, Yahoo, or Hotmail. So you're going to insert the information requested here, and then we ask you to tell us some information about your family and then your education. So for your education section, please make sure that you obtain a phone number or email address from your school. This could be a headmaster's contact information or perhaps a school secretary's, but we need to be able to contact someone from your school to verify all of the information on your application. And then another question we frequently get asked is whether you can participate, well, whether you can apply to the program without a valid passport. And so the answer is yes, you can apply without a passport, but please bear in mind that you will have to obtain a passport before the program begins. And the passport has to be valid through a little while after the last date of your program. So at this time, it's perfectly fine if you want to answer no to this question and leave this section blank, but if you do have a passport, you're already one step ahead. And then we are back to the essay questions. So please remember to type these out in a separate document since you can't save partial answers, and then just paste them back in when you're ready to submit the form. And then lastly, we have the section here where you can submit your letters of recommendation to different ones and the signature page. So there are 2 spots to upload the letter of recommendation. So please make sure that you have uploaded a different one to each spot. When you're ready to upload these, you can hit choose file and then the name of whatever document you're submitting into that spot. And please, before you do this, double check that it's written in English, typed in English, and then hand signed by the person who's recommending you, and that it's different from the other letter of recommendation that you're submitting. And you should be able to see the name here, so you can double check that. If you have 2 of the same letter of recommendation, or if any of the pages are missing, your application will be considered invalid. So please double check all this information before you apply. And then lastly, you can upload the document that you and your father or your legal guardian have hand signed. And then you'll hit submit form. And please remember that we will not review any applications that are submitted late or incomplete. So try to work on this as early as you can. So if we go back to the general NNIC website, as you can see here, if you submit your online written application and then are selected to move forward with the application process, we do have a second part of the application, which is a video interview. And so within 1 or 2 weeks of the first application deadline, we will send you a link to submit this second section. And depending on what year you're applying, these dates may be slightly different from what you see here. So please double check the website for the year that you're applying for the most up-to-date information. And from this same website, if you go Exchange Programs, Youth Leadership Program, Frequently Asked Questions, we do have a list of questions that we get asked frequently. And so please, if you have any questions, visit this first, just to make sure that we haven't already answered the question. And if your question isn't answered here, please scroll down and you can find our email here, aylpyouth@nnic.org. Send us an email with your different question. Please insert a clear subject, such as AYLP visa question or application inquiry. And in the body of the email, please write in English what your question is, and also include your first and last name so we can connect your question to your application, or just be able to help you more directly. And if you're wondering about your application status, please do not reach out to us before the date that the interview section of the application begins, which is usually a week or two after the written application deadline. And that date can be found in the application instructions. Usually by that date, we will email you about the status of your application. But if you still haven't heard from us and the video interview section is opening, at that point, please send us an email. So that is all the information I have for you today, but we look forward to receiving your application. Thank you.